Yes?
Yeah.
Hi. Salam alaikum. It's the Kung Fu chef here. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I do know Kung Fu, but I'm not a Kung Fu chef because I don't know what that means. Anyway, so today we are going to make homemade anti-aging, yes, anti-aging chocolate. Not just dark chocolate or good quality chocolate, but actual anti-aging chocolate. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you have heard, coffee is having good quality of polyphenols and other ingredients that makes it like an anti-aging. This specific ingredient here, which is raw organic cacao powder, is actually 3 times more effective as an anti-aging agent, right? So, it's nice coffee, but cacao is actually better, all right? And if you can combine them both, then you got a winning formulation. All right, so let me first talk about the ingredients, okay? We have cacao butter, and of course this is raw and organic cacao butter, yes? Okay, this is the same cacao butter that we are using for the Green Mommy Shop products. Not to forget, right, Kudesi?
Yes.
Professor Skincare. And then we have, of course, the cacao, raw organic cacao powder, yes?
Same with what we're using for the
Same with what
skincare.
we are using for the chocolate collagen, for the chocolate radiance ritual, and many of our products that we are actually including cacao in some of the
Formulation.
soaps and other
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Okay. Now another thing we are using. So to make the chocolate, this is the 3 ingredients: the cacao butter, the cacao powder, and then we need a sweetener, because if you see a chocolate in the supermarket and it says 85%, it means that the cacao butter and powder, that is 85% when it comes together, okay? So that means the 15%, depending on the brand, is a sweetener, but usually they use a real sugar. I don't use real sugar because it's not as healthy as this kind of sugar. And maybe now you cannot guess what kind of sugar this is.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I have ground this to a very, very fine. If you're using, this is coconut sugar, just to remember to say that. But the fact is, if you buy the coconut sugar and you just put it inside, it's too grainy. It will not be dissolved. So you have to blend it into very fine powder. Okay? So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that in the right order. And then the last magic brain ingredient, which is walnuts, which of course I chop it. It's chopped in a food processor to make sure that with glass, not with plastic. And this is also glass. Yes, we don't use any plastic here. For the same reason, otherwise you get healthy food with plastic, then it's not really going to be that healthy. So we got 200 grams of walnuts chopped. We got altogether the 3 ingredients for the actual chocolate is 400 grams. So when we are finished, it should be around 600 grams of chocolate, 85% pure chocolate with almonds to anti-aging. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll start by adding this, so we can melt this in what we call that bath.
Double boiler.
Double boiler, that's the right. Yes, so you see we put enough water that this one is not, really touching the ground. I mean touching the bottom of this wok. So it's, not get hot too fast, but it's starting to melt down, okay? So we start by melting this. It's gonna take like a couple of minutes. You wanna see it here? Yeah, so this will take a couple of minutes. The whole process, of course, I took some time measuring out each ingredient and also chopping the walnut, but which is why when you're making this kind of thing, you might as well do a big amount, you know, to make 100 gram, and then next week you do 100 gram. This will last me 600 gram. Maybe they will last me like, I have to admit, it will only last me 2 weeks to 3 weeks, but for most people it will last at least a month, right? Because every chance I get, I eat this chocolate because I would get healthier. I mean, come on, why wouldn't I? So yes, so as soon as this is starting here, it's nice, and you know, you can see this. Maybe you want to have a quick look again. As it's melting, you can see it's nice, a nice color. Even though it looks much more white when you're looking at it, but when you're melting it down, you can see that, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's a little brownish because it's cacao powder, butter, right? So we start, and if I mix it in now, all of it is gonna be messy and hard to make it smooth. So we start by making sure the butter is properly melted, of course. Which, you know, and if you give it a little agitation here by, you know, doing this, it goes a little faster. If you just leave it like that, yes, you can do something, but then you can also end up making it too hot and almost boiling. So it's better just to check on it once in a while, and when, as soon as it, you know, if it moves around, it goes faster. All right, it goes faster. As you can see, you can actually see it melting in front of your eyes, pretty much.
We're making our skincare as nutritious as our food.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah, not just in a way, it is just, you know.
No, I'm saying.
Fully.
Yeah. This is just a side note. Once in a while, people are asking, while your body butter is not white like most body butter, it's yellowish just like that, because we're using real butter, let's say oil,
They're
not
using
refined.
Synthetic materials.
Yeah, synthetic wax, refined butter, refined oil.
Yeah, they take all the good stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Which is
That's also why a lot of the products are actually more effective than the chemical products.
Yeah.
And people think that natural is not as effective.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not, maybe it's not as fast acting as some, but that's because those have very serious chemicals that makes it happen. But then they also get the side effects, which is problems that can stay for life. So yeah, you're playing with your life if you're using non-natural products. All right. It's pretty much done. Now I can add the sugar, the coconut sugar, like that. And you can see how fine it is. It stays on the side of this container here. I gotta make sure I get the whole thing inside. Don't want to waste any. Right? Yes. At the bottom there. Yeah. Okay, and this is the same I use for flaxseed, for even making my coffee in the morning, or whenever I'm making my coffee. So now we need to make sure that this, we can actually turn this off already, because as soon as the water is hot enough, you don't need to heat extra. So I will start by making sure that the sugar is properly dissolved into the butter. It's almost done. If you get a spatula that's like silicone like this, make sure it's a proper silicone that's safe for food production or food use. Because many silicone kitchen products are made cheap with a chemical silicone, which is not very safe. Alrighty, almost done. Let me see if I can there. Just squeeze that a little bit. Almost there. This is almost like making a skincare product, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make sure everything is properly consistent. No, pieces, so they don't get a, reaction or anything like that. If it's not properly, get one ingredient, too much of it in one application. That would be pretty unlucky. I think that's fine. Now this is the hard part. You can say it's a little bit time consuming because all of this inside this small amount of butter is gonna take some time to actually get it to stick together properly. So I know it's a lot. It's a whole lot of cacao powder. All right. Let's put that one down for a minute and get this started. Like that. So this is the most time-consuming part of it, is to really, really mix it in properly, so we don't get these lumps of powder. You could do this in some kind of mixer, but we'll do it
You
by
mean
hand.
like food processor kind of thing?
No, a food processor will cut it.
Oh.
Food processor is not for mixing.
Oh, like the milling cacao.
Well, yeah, you could
That
do that, but
thingy.
that's mostly when you have the actual beans
Yeah.
that you will be
You
doing
don't
that.
have to separate the butter and the powder.
No, but you will add additional butter. That's what they do. So if you're making chocolate from beans, you wouldn't just use the bean. You would add extra butter to get the right, proportion. To make it nice and soft and easy to deal with, and also for the consistency and the taste. All right, almost there. I can add the rest. Use that spoon for a second. Don't want to waste anything. So if I should buy, when I'm finished with this 600 gram, if I should buy that, oh boy, how much would I be spending? 300, 600, that's 6 times 8. 480,000 if you buy the Belgian chocolate or some other similar brand, is 480,000. And probably this will not even cost me 200,000.
And not to mention, you do not have the nuts and seeds.
No, this is calculated,
Oh, okay.
Of course, if I do the nuts and the seeds, that's why it's 600. Otherwise, it would be 400. But if you buy the Belgian with nuts and seeds, and it's almost walnuts, it will cost the same as the pure, because walnuts are not exactly cheap. But it's not that expensive either for us here. Even if it's imported, it's still decent. You can make it without breaking the bank. So as you can see now, it's getting a little harder because of the adding more powder. So you have to make sure you really kind of, what do you call that? Stir it.
So you don't have to turn on the stove again.
No.
Just
This is
work on.
this water is definitely hot enough
Okay.
to keep it, not going to
Solidify.
solidify. Yeah. going with this. Right, that's all. I think it's close to being done. Looks great, huh? Look at that. Pure anti-aging. No. No, 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 no. No, no. You can't put your finger there. Is that the bubble? No, that's fine. Okay. I think this is about it. Right? I think I have mixed the butter with the cacao powder pretty well. So now I can add the walnuts. Yeah, this is a lot of walnuts for this amount of chocolate. Okay, most people wouldn't be doing this amount, but even though the ratio is 1 to 3, meaning 1 being the walnuts and 3 being the chocolate, right? I mean, not 1 to 3, is 30% walnuts and 60% or 66%. 33 and 66, that's my way of saying that. So basically I just gotta mix this in a bit, as much as I now can do, right? And then hopefully it will not solidify too much. It looks like it might be a little bit solidifying, but I think if I can just fix this quick, yeah, you can see now it looks like I might have to turn that a little bit, just a bit, just like that. All right. Yeah. Just for like a minute, because I gotta make sure these walnuts are, mixed in properly, so I don't get one piece without nuts and one that's almost 100% nuts, right?
And I'm the one who's getting it.
Which one? The nuts? Well, you're a bit naughty, so actually that makes sense. Yes. All right. Yeah. Almost there. I think we're just gonna leave that for a minute. Okay. Okay, maybe you can. No.
What then?
Put the camera on me while this one gets. Okay. All right. So let me tell you a few things that you can do. All right. Because a lot of people are thinking about easy way. Because you see, one of our problems in today's world is that we have no time. We don't have time. We are so busy going from work to school to home to, family visits and all kinds of stuff. So if you are, like extended family or maybe even your family are not eating that healthy, but you're trying to eat healthy, it's very difficult. So there's a couple of things you can do, right? One of the things, for example, is you can make drinks. You can make your own drinks. If you have a good glass blender, you can very quickly, you can buy, this is goat milk, Itawa, Susu Itawa, Camping Itawa, yeah? And then what you can do is, if you have that tumbler that most people they are running around with when they are busy people, so before you leave home, you can actually make a drink with, you start with hot water, you put in some chia seeds, for example, so it's, expanding. Once it's finished expanding, you put a couple of teaspoons of the Susu Camping. Then, if you are either using the Radiance Ritual or the collagen, you can add a spoon, not a teaspoon, but a proper spoon. Just one is enough, all right? And then you can buy frozen, or you can buy Merbei or blueberries, and you can keep it in the freezer, and then you just take a small handful and throw it in the blender. And then after you mix the Susu, the powder, with the water and the chia seed, you just drop it inside, and inside there, maybe you add a banana, right? With the Merbei and blueberry, banana, and you mix the whole thing, you blend the whole thing and put it in your tumbler, and you can make like half a liter, 600 milli, for example, out of that. You know, depending on how big your container is that you're using, right? Or maybe drink a little bit so it can fit into your tumbler, right? And then you have something on the go. This is a very easy way of doing something. If you want to go a little bit further, let me see if it's a little bit, it's still a little bit, you know, a little bit. Yeah, we gotta give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, okay. So if you, another thing you can do is now you see how I make this chocolate with the nuts, right? But the fact is, you can make a collagen or radiance chocolate bar, okay? So that means you could technically, instead of just adding this, you could add, let's say this is now 600 grams, okay? So let's say, for example, I would say, okay, I will eat 50 grams per day. That's a good amount, okay? Maybe 30 grams. Let's say most people will probably eat like a piece like this, 30 grams, right? So what you do is you say, okay, this is 13 days if I eat 30 grams per day, approximately. So the scoop that you're using for making one collagen drink, you put 13 scoops inside, okay? And then you mix it together with this, all right? Maybe if you have, you can add a little extra cocoa butter to make sure that it get, you know, it stays soft, easy, right? Okay, that's a good way, because then you have a chocolate bar you carry that you get your collagen, because, you know, it's pretty good. And you can add raisins, you can add a lot of other dried fruits to this, but you add it after, when it's almost done, just like how I added the walnut. All right, so let's get back to this here. Yeah, okay, it's still a little bit harder because of the nuts, okay? It makes it a little bit, so I have to, it's almost like when you're baking, you're making the batter, the dough, right?
This is like a brownie dough.
Yeah, it looks like a brownie dough. Yeah, almost, although my brownie dough is not quite this hard. So it's harder than brownie dough. All right, okay. I think this is all right. I think the nuts are pretty well mixed in. So I'm gonna turn this off, okay? And then I'm gonna do the next step, all right? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure I don't get any water inside there. So I'm just gonna quickly dry this off, all right? So I don't let water get into that mold here. This is just a baking pan actually. You can buy these silicones, but those who have the silicones that I see in marketplace in Indonesia, I'm not 100% sure the silicone is safe or not. So I'm using this. It makes it, it's a little bit hard. Don't put butter or oil or anything, okay, because then it will get messy. So you just put it like this, all right? Basically, just, right? You just let it go like this. Let's see, yeah. And then what we're trying to do here is we're going to let it flatten a little bit. Come on. You know you want to go. All right. Almost done here. Okay. We're going to flatten that in a second. I just gotta make sure I get, because we don't want to waste anything, right? Okay. That. All right. I think I got it all. Yes, that's pretty good. All right. Put that over there. So what I basically just do is I just flatten it like this. And we try to get it out to the corners a little bit, right? I think I put a lot more nuts than last time. That's why it seems a little difficult, but it's all right.
Yeah, normally it's smooth just like a chocolate bar from the store.
Yeah, but I prefer to have more nuts in it because then I can make an excuse and eat more every day. Okay, alrighty, alrighty, like that. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's not as neat or pretty as a chocolate bar you buy, but it's definitely much cheaper and much healthier because they make it in factories and there's a lot of, it's touching a lot of materials, that plastic materials and aluminium materials, and they get it in a way that might not be the healthiest raw production. You know, when they start, when they use their ingredients. Yeah, we are about right. So as long as I see that it's kind of flat, doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm gonna cut this into pieces and I'm gonna break it up as I will show you in another video, and then we just take this like that, right?
So you're just gonna leave it for me.
Nope,
Ah.
nope. You get nothing. I'm kidding, guys. Nobody's more spoiled than this woman who's holding this camera right now.
Oh my.
Well, am I lying?
No.
Okay then. Yes, you see, like that. This is how it looks, okay? And that's pretty much the end of that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see that?
Mm.
I'm the one who's supposed to lick on that.
Yeah, but you weren't doing that,
Okay.
so.
Alright.
Okay, maybe I will make an extra tiny video where I show how I break it up when I'm done.
Okay.
See you